I'm Matt.
I'm Shane.
And if you like what you hear, make sure you hit that thumbs up button real hard, and make sure you subscribe to Comic Movie Marks.
And also click that little bell for all of the notifications.
Whee!
Always remember,
if Trailer Trash can do it,
anyone can do it.
Hello and welcome everyone to another Comic Movie Marks video, take 2.
From the man that brought you classics like After Earth, The Last Airbender, Lady in the Water, and Signs, we are going to break down another fantastic M. Night Shyamalan film, Unbreakable. But actually, this one is good. I just happen to list all of his shitty movies.
How do you always forget The Happening? Plants kill people.
Is that a fan? Oh, okay. It's like Plants vs. Zombies. Yeah, The Happening. That's the other one.
And it has Mark Wahlberg in it.
Just going to talk in a very positive manner, giving off good vibes. We're just here to use the bathroom. And then we're just gonna leave. I hope that's okay.
I still gotta watch that one.
Fucking finally, Glass comes out next week, people. Let's talk about what kicked off the M. Night Shyamalan Ding Dong universe, Unbreakable.
Yes, released in 2000. It's shocking that this movie took so long to really get a sequel, and it was a surprise sequel, not even billed as a sequel. Just the, typical statistics we throw out. The production budget for Unbreakable was estimated at $75 million. This is according to Box Office Mojo. It reached $95 million domestically, $153 million foreign, for a total of $248 million worldwide. Opening weekend was $30 million. So it did pretty good, especially if you look at the production budget. Domestically, it beat that. So for it to take so long to get a sequel is pretty surprising. At
a time when comic book movies are kind of down in the shitter, they're kind of a faux pas at that time. You get Blade coming out, which kind of resurges the genre, then the X-Men, then Spider-Man. This is in 2000, so this idea around comic book superheroes is not necessarily Hollywood's forte at this time. So the fact that it made money and that it's pretty much a fairly groundbreaking film in how it did its thing is awesome. And now it's got its sequel with Split. If you haven't seen either one of these movies, Split or Unbreakable, stop the video, hit pause, go and watch those two movies right away. Watch Unbreakable first, then Split, then come back to the video and laugh at our stupidity.
Yeah, exactly. We did a Split review when that movie came out. What was it, in 16, 17? When did that movie come out? I feel like it was a couple years ago.
Early 2016.
16. Dang, really? So we must have done the Split review after the DVD release.
Oh, maybe it was 2017. My bad.
You might be right. I don't fucking remember. And
No. It's 2017.
Okay. Did you look it up?
No.
Oh. All right. Well, we'll just leave it at that.
But
all right.
Yeah, fuck it. I don't need to give a reason why. It's that. Anyway.
So, yeah, Unbreakable. This movie just flew under the radar for so many people. There's a lot of people that I brought this movie up to them. I'm like, oh, you gotta check this movie out. Have you seen Split? Helping, I guess, advertise it a little bit more to a lot of people that I work with or that I talk to, of like, oh, I'm really looking forward to Glass. You have to see Unbreakable. And a lot of people have either heard of it and haven't seen it, or haven't even heard of it. So it just really flew under the radar, and as Matt said, at such a unique time as well. So it makes you kind of wonder if it would have come out 5, 6, 7 years later, how well it would have been received.
So we're going to do spoiler talk on this one. We're not going to really hold back on this. So if you haven't seen it again, go watch it, because we're going to talk about all the little finite details in this movie. And because it's an M. Night Shyamalan movie, there's got to be a twist. So we're going to talk about the twist.
Yep.
In all its glory.
Always.
So the movie starts out in such a fascinating way to me now, pretty much giving all the details of how many people in the United States buy comic books, how many comic books people have in a collection, how much time they spend in their life reading comic books. I found that to be kind of a fun little addition to the movie, and just making you look like fuck, man. We have no lives. Like when you read that,
right?
Holy shit! Thank you for pointing out my fucking flaws, asshole movie, right in the beginning.
Yes, I'm lazy. I get it. Yeah, it's I think it was a great way to kick off the movie, and then I believe it rolls right into the train scene next, right?
Yep.
As to be expected, M. Night Shyamalan has such a unique storytelling way of visually storytelling, I guess. Unbreakable fits right in line with a lot of that. I really enjoyed a lot of the unique camera shots that we saw in this movie throughout the whole thing. And in the starting on with the train, you typically, if it was on a plane or a train or automobile, whatever, you would get the camera that's, I guess, positioned in front of the actors, but this one is actually positioned in front of the actors and in between the two seats, and it's moving back and forth, and you're picking up little nuances. Bruce Willis, his character David, and then the female who's sitting on the train with him, and I just kicking off from right there. I thought that was awesome, and throughout the entire movie, you get different scenes. Like right after the accident, there's a doctor talking to David, and you see them working on one of the patients, and it happens to be, or I guess one of the fellow train riders, and it happens to be the only other surviving person as of that moment, but he's about to die. And it's just kind of, again, a unique camera shot that it sits there and you kind of see them working on him and him breathing, and is really well done.
Yeah, that shot actually was awesome. And because as they're talking and this doctor's asking him really stupid questions about his allergies, the guy is getting worked on, and then you see the blanket over the top of him. The blood starts slowly getting bigger.
Yeah.
The blood spot. And they just keep going, having the conversation. It's a unique angle. The only thing is I call bullshit, because there's no way any seats would have that big of a gap between them on a train. Because what they're going to do is slam these things all together as much as they can to squeeze people as much as possible. So that seat gap is a complete bullshit. But other than that, David Dunn doing the fucking little hide the ring in the pocket move. Mm-hmm. And then I like later on when the wife asked him, like, have you been with anybody else during this time? Nope. Motherfucker. You did the tuck the ring tactics.
Well, I mean, he wasn't lying. He just wasn't telling the full truth. And he also wasn't successful. So.
Yeah, he sucks at it.
Yeah.
That's the other thing that's actually very interesting / it's hard to believe that this character is intriguing in the way when you really look at it. David Dunn is a boring ass character. He's a security guard. He really doesn't do shit. He has the worst weight set ever in the bottom of his gym, or bottom of his basement. I mean, the thing's a piece of shit. He apparently doesn't have any other 45s in the whole fucking place. That drove me nuts. They just kept putting like 25 plates on over and over again. There's nothing much to him, but yet this guy is finding out slowly that he is a superhero.
I think that's the cool part about this movie is, yeah, he is just very basic. He's very boring.
He's a boring bitch.
Yeah, but that speaks to more of where his depression is, of, you know, he's feeling like he hasn't found his calling yet. Samuel L. Jackson's character, you know, is talking to him about, you know, you mentioned you wake up every day sad, and maybe it's because you haven't found your purpose. And you can see, yeah, he just has just a very mundane job, and he just kind of hasn't quite found that yet until spoilers, get to the very end of the movie, and voila. And so it's just really, really cool build. They really kind of lay it all out there. And actually, I was mistaken. It wasn't the train scene that was first. It was
Elijah being born.
Yeah, and I believe it's shot through a mirror. Like you only see them. It's through a mirror, and you see kind of the reflection, and
it goes back and forth. It actually tripped me out a couple times because it made it look like the doctor was looking in the wrong direction.
Oh yeah.
I'm like, wait, aren't they standing behind you? But they're in front of him. But the reflection, it's just weird. It kind of swings back and forth. It really tripped me out. I was like, motherfucker, sit still.
Yeah. So I thought the camera shots were awesome. A lot of unique camera shots throughout the entire movie. I really enjoyed the dialogue. This is a very dialogue heavy movie. If thinking it's going to be some comic book action filled movie, it's not. You really have to pay attention to the dialogue, and I enjoy that about movies that can pull it off well, when it just really sucks you in, and there's not a whole lot going on if you really think about it, but the dialogue is coupled with some of the great scenes that are set up. Another one that I'm thinking of is when they first walk into David and his son walk into the art gallery, And most of the conversation, it's kind of like the camera sitting on top of the art gallery, kind of. And it's just kind of panning out, and then you just see them talking, but you see all the comics and all the pictures and stuff like that. And the dialogue is just so crucial between the two. It's just very well done.
Yeah, Samuel L. Jackson as Elijah is phenomenal. I love the fact that he starts out, because he owns this gallery called Limited Edition. There's a guy that wants this like drafting art by this comic writer. He's like, oh, I'll take it. I'll wrap it up. And then he talks about he's going to give it to his 4-year-old. And I love when Samuel Jackson says, no, this is art. This isn't a toy store. Did you see and he starts naming off all these things that'd be in a toy store. You don't give this to an infant. Like, he just laying it down, just fucking laying it down. And I want to know how much he was going to charge. Like, this guy really was going to give this. I have a feeling that would have cost at least $500 or more. Maybe, probably even way more, depending on their thing. Is like, you give that really to a fucking 4-year-old? The hell is wrong with you? And I'm so glad he laid that down.
Yeah, it's some of the stuff. I really liked Samuel
L. Jackson's
character. It's just a rich fucker who was gonna buy a painting or whatever art for his 4-year-old. But yeah, Samuel L. Jackson's character Elijah in this is phenomenal. He does such a great job. I mean, if you look at the actors in this, Bruce Willis, Samuel L. Jackson, even Jenny from Forrest Gump, older Jenny is in this. Jen A. They work together so well. A lot of the dialogue is fantastic, and Samuel L. Jackson just hits it out of the park.
And we're going to kind of talk about the end here a little bit. First, I want to say that it's amazing that a movie like this was made, and you could just see the timing. The time era that it was made anyway. Because I could guarantee now something like this being made now would probably get panned. Because, like Shane said, it's very dialogue heavy. There's almost no action. There's literally not a speck of humor in the thing. There's a couple moments that you could probably find some form of levity in. It's a film that digs deep into those aspects of human life and how much comic books affect us in the real world and what they could really mean. And when you talk about something like that and you get to the very end where the big twist happens, because David Dunn's character, when he touches people, he can see these things, maybe these terrible acts that they've done or what's on their mind or something like that. And he's touching all these people. That sounds kind of awkward the way I said it. You know, people are running into him and he's seeing all these terrible things these people do. Like one guy, obviously he had sex with a girl when she was completely drunk. He eventually finds the guy that attacked a guy in his home and is pretty much keeping the family hostage in their house. You get this sense that he's embracing this now. He's a superhero. He's above the normal person. He can lift. He's unbreakable. He has his weakness of water, and we'll get into that more. But then when Elijah is telling him, they do the handshake, and David Dunn sees all the things that Elijah has done to try to find this person is just insane. It's just insane what he did. It's a great twist. Gave me fucking goosebumps.
I'm not a mistake. It all makes sense. In a comic, you know how you can tell who the arch villain's going to be? He's the exact opposite of the hero. And most times they're friends like you and me.
Even when I knew what the twist was watching it again recently, when he's telling them there has to be someone out there that was opposite of me. That's what makes the best villains, is the ones that are opposite of the heroes. But he is the villain that can beat the hero with his mind, not with brute force. And it's just an epic speech at the end that Samuel Jackson gives.
Yeah, it's really done so well, built up on both sides. And as you mentioned, David, Bruce Willis's characters, is really struggling the entire movie to really come to terms with it. His kid, I like the dynamic between the two, because he, you know, David really has pushed his kid away and he doesn't really have much of a relationship with him. But then as the movie builds and his son's trying to convince him and almost fucking shoots him. And there's so many scenes in this that even though I've seen this movie a couple times, I own it. I was sitting on the edge of my seat like, fuck, this is so good. I forget how great this movie is and how great the scenes are. and really the story arc, it's done so well. And then you get to the very end, and David saves the kids. Unfortunately, the parents died, but he saves the kids out of that house and kills that guy. And then there's an article in the newspaper, and he slides it to his son, on the breakfast table, and kind of whispers, "Don't tell mom, but you were right." And his son's like, "Holy shit."
Yeah, I really don't care too much for children actors and in these moments with kids a lot of the times, but that part that you specifically talked about when he slides the paper over, the kid begins to cry and stuff, and yeah, he does the thing. Yeah, I was like, that is actually a pretty awesome moment. That would be a pretty sweet fucking moment. This movie, though, is fucking full of great dialogue and just great moments. Samuel Jackson's character, Elijah, one of my favorite ones that I wrote down. He kind of has this little monologue going on, and he's talking about the comic books and stuff, and he says, "Real life doesn't fit in a little box that was drawn for it," describing a comic book panel itself. Fuck yeah. I mean, that could be said about so many things right now. When people want to have these heroes that are so much bigger than life, can't handle them being realistic because they want what would fit in a comic panel over what is in real life instead of these being true heroes.
Yeah, it's incredibly well done. I really don't have a whole lot of negatives in this movie. I think the dialogue is fantastic. I actually the score is very basic. But I feel like it was so fitting. It just worked really well, and in several moments it just fit. It's nothing too crazy. I'm not gonna download anything on on my iPhone or something. But it works. It fits so well with this movie, and I can remember several moments of it kind of of it piquing my interest. Like, wow, the score is just really well done, and there's a slight theme. I was pulling up trying to find the composer. James Newton Howard is the one who's credited with composing this, and I guess kind of creating the theme. So I guess he has a credit in the movie Split as well. Just works so well, and so much of this movie that's what it's about. The twist at the end, you're like, holy shit, but it's nothing like blow you out of the water, could have never seen that coming type thing, but it works, and everything in this movie works so well. I have a couple random nitpicks as far as negatives. The conveniences of how Elijah just knows so much about David, where he works, where his wife works, happens to have his phone number so he can call him, on the nice corded phone from 2000. So there's just some random stuff, and then the ending was a little short from. I had it pictured in my mind a certain way of it going a certain way, and it just speeds along a little bit. So you're like, oh, okay, well, a lot of anticipation. It's great. I think it's a fantastic ending, and again, so fitting. It doesn't have to be this epic fist fight. No, it's just he fucking chokes him out. That's it. Gets slammed up against the wall several times, but it works. It fits so well for this type of movie.
Yeah, I honestly don't really have anything negative other than maybe. But I think this was by design, really. That's the thing, is that, the wife and the kid are kind of just, they're just there. You don't really feel the connection between him and the wife that much, maybe a little bit near the end. But I think maybe it's actually done like that for a reason. It's showing the reason why the marriage is split. Aha, you see what I did there? Split. You kind of get a reason why he's disconnected from his kid. So that could be the reason why that they're kind of... it's kind of an awkward setting when they're talking to each other and stuff. And that could be by design in general.
Yeah, I definitely think it is. I felt that same thing, especially early on. You're kind of like, this is kind of awkward for being a great actress, and, and then having the kid who I thought did a good job as well. It was kind of awkward. But then there's the point when she's having the conversation with David. She even says that it is a big deal. It's a huge deal that you survived this, but you can kind of see she's just kind of, we've drifted so far apart that she doesn't feel as big of a deal as it should be. And she mentions that. And so I agree. I think it is intentional. And you kind of see the arc, with him and his wife, and him awkwardly carrying her up the stairs. That part was kind of interesting.
Dude,
she's
with
just,
no...
almost like... Right?
She was perfectly balanced. I was like, dude, you didn't hit her head or anything.
Right? Yeah, and then perfectly sets her down. Yeah. I agree with you. It was awkward, but I think it was intentional, and you kind of get the full character arc and the build there. yeah, not a whole lot of cons for me in this movie.
All right, let's score the bitch then.
All right. Am I going first?
Yes.
All right. So I am going to give Unbreakable a 4.6 out of 5 marks.
Great googling muggly.
I fucking love this movie. There's so much when it can pull me off of my chair or literally to the edge of my seat, my nice little recliner. That's what was funny is I've seen this movie several times, like I said, and I'm reclined for most of it, and then as the movie's building, I caught myself. I'm no longer reclined, and I'm literally sitting on the edge of my seat, like just watching this movie. And there's not a whole lot that I dislike about it, really at all. I think it's well paced. The dialogue is fantastic. And such a fantastic build. The twist works. Nothing that blows you out of the water. Like, wow, that was insane. But just everything that it does works so well for what it's trying to do. And I really enjoyed it.
All right, I'm gonna give it 4.2 out of 5 marks. It's a fantastic movie for its time. What it was trying to do, the concept alone, the story concept alone, is something that is different, and I think is extremely intriguing. I love that type of stuff, and especially what Split accomplishes as well. This phenomenal aspect of where maybe somewhere out there's one guy that can break those limits. It's just the average Joe breaking those limits somewhere that makes him a superhero. And I find that to be awesome. It's a very simplistic nature. He doesn't have to be Superman. He doesn't have to be fucking Captain America. He's just some regular dude that's just slowly finding out he can lift 350 pounds. All right, I think that's going to wrap up our breakdown of Unbreakable. Definitely go out and see it. If you actually listen to this somehow all the way and haven't watched it, go watch it. It's really well worth it. Amazon still has the balls to charge $3.99 for a 19-year-old movie.
Right? Fucking HD. I'm like, come on,
like, you son of a beach.
And I actually didn't want to watch it, the DVD version, because I'm like, I want to watch a little more high def. Maybe they scaled it up a little bit. And then I was like, $3.99. Fuck you.
You were lazy. You didn't want to find the DVD.
That could be it too.
My premise. All right. In case I don't see you.
Good afternoon, good evening, and good night.
Congratulations, you made it to the end of the video. You're one of very few to make it to the end.
Yes, thank you very much.
Make sure you hit that like button and subscribe to Comic Movie Marks Podcast and hit the notification bell. All these fucking YouTube channels say this shit, so I'm going to say it now.
Yes, it's perfect. And if you want to hear our full podcast, you can check out our podcast on iTunes or any other podcast subscription service.
Make sure you subscribe. Thanks again.